Hi, boys and girls. Today we are going to be learning in social studies on economics. Go ahead and turn to the vocabulary page and we'll get started. Our first vocabulary word is economics. Economics is the study of how people use money, goods, and services. On the right-hand side, write a sentence using the word economics. Number 2 is buyer. A buyer is a person who gives money or trades items for things he or she wants or needs. Circle the words that belong with the word buyer. Sells, buys, gives, symbol, goods, money. Number 3, seller. A seller is a person who takes money or other items in exchange for things he or she wants or needs. Write a sentence using the word seller. Number 4, exchange. Exchange means to trade or give up one item for another item. Write a synonym for the word exchange. Number 5, demand. Demand is the number of people who want or need something. Write a sentence using the word demand. Number 6, supply. Supply is the amount of something that is available. Circle 2 key words in the definition of supply. Write those words here. The next word is scarcity. Scarcity is when something is difficult to get or find. What is one thing you want or need that is affected by scarcity? And our last word is currency. Currency is a country's system of money. Write 2 words that are examples of currency. When you're done completing all of the items on the right-hand side, be sure to upload a picture to show completion. Now go ahead and turn the page to 110 and let's read Lesson 1, Buyers and Sellers. What does your family do when they need groceries? They probably go to the grocery store. What about if you want a new video game? Do you go to a store or do you shop online? Today, we have many options to get what we need and want. Where do you do most of your shopping? Go ahead and write that down on the line there. Imagine you owned a store. What are some things that you would sell? Number 2 says, where would you get the items to sell in your store? What is economics? Economics is the study of how people use money, goods, and services. Why is it important to learn about economics? Because it affects you every day. Consider the things you will use today. Do you picture clothes, food, books, and computers? These items probably come from stores in your community. These stores are part of the community's economy. They are there to provide you and your neighbors with the things you want and need. In the United States, people work together to make goods and provide services. In this lesson, you will learn about the people who buy and sell the goods you use every day. You will also learn how they work together to get people the things they want and need. List 3 things you can buy from stores in your community. And over here it says people shop at stores in Florida to buy the things they want and need. Who are buyers and sellers? This is Aaron. He's a buyer. That means he buys goods and services from other people. Goods are items such as food, books, or video games. A service is something useful that people do for others. When Aaron gets his hair cut or goes to the doctor, he is buying a service. Where do buyers get goods and services? Everywhere. They buy them at the corner market and big superstores and even on the internet. Buyers use money to pay for the goods and services they want. Take a minute and draw a picture of something that you would like to buy. What is a seller? Who sells the items buyers want? People like Mrs. Mann, who is a seller. A seller is someone who sells goods and services to other people. Mrs. Mann owns a store. That's where she sells most of her products. She also sells them on the internet, but sellers can be anywhere. People don't just sell goods either. They also sell services. Sometimes sellers exchange goods for other items. To exchange means to swap or give up one item for another item. But sellers usually exchange goods or services for money. Number 1 says, circle the buyers in the picture in red. Number 2, circle the sellers in the picture in green. And then when you get to number 3, what do you think the buyers are buying? So be sure to look really closely at the photograph and write it on the line. Okay, let's take a look up here. Mr. Smith owns a farm. He and his family grow apples to sell to other people at the farmer's market. Mr. Smith is a seller. Mr. Smith needs help to run his farm. He buys services from people who pick the apples, put them in boxes, and load them onto trucks. He also buys goods such as ladders, trucks, and boxes. Mr. Smith is also a buyer. At the farmer's market, Mr. Smith and Mr. Jones set up their goods to sell to buyers. The Garcia family buys apples, peppers, and tomatoes. Circle the sellers in this photograph. After working at the market, Mr. Smith goes into town. Mr. Timmons sells a guitar to Mr. Smith. Circle the buyer. Let's take a look at buyers and sellers. Let's take a closer look at how buyers and sellers interact or work together. Look at the pictures on these pages. Mr. Smith runs a farm that grows apples. On his farm, he interacts with sellers to buy ladders, trucks, and boxes. At the market, he sells apples to buyers. He interacts with buyers to exchange his goods for their money. Later, at a music store, Mr. Smith interacts with Mr. Timmons. Mr. Timmons is a seller, and he sells a guitar to Mr. Smith. So we can see that Mr. Smith is both a buyer and a seller. When Mr. Smith is at the farmer's market, he is a seller and interacts with buyers. When he buys items for his farm or a guitar for his son, he is a buyer and interacts with a seller. So our essential question from lesson 1 is, how do people interact? Go ahead and refer back to page 114 and each of the illustrations at the top to answer the question, and be sure to restate it beginning with people interact by.